Emily stood at the back of the Grand Nexus auction house, her arms crossed as she watched wealthy collectors and corporate representatives bid astronomical sums on sleek vessels and luxury cruisers. The holographic displays flickered with ships that gleamed like jewels, each one worth more than she'd earn in 10 lifetimes working the mining colonies. She wasn't here to buy. She was here to dream. Lot 147, the auctioneer's voice droned, barely concealing his disinterest. Military surplus. Designation, Ironclad 7, armored freighter, pre-war era. Structural integrity questionable. Life support systems offline. No warranty, no refunds. The massive screen displayed a ship that looked like it had been dragged through a meteor storm and back. Its hull was scarred and dented, paint stripped away by decades of neglect. Unlike the graceful vessels that had come before, this one was a floating brick, angular, ugly, and utterly forgettable. The crowd murmured with disdain. Someone laughed. Opening bid, 10 credits, the auctioneer announced. Silence filled the hall. Not a single hand raised. Emily leaned forward, studying the ship's specifications, scrolling across her personal data pad. Her fingers moved quickly, cross-referencing the model number. Her eyes widened. An Ironclad 7 wasn't just any armored freighter, it was a legend from the frontier wars. These ships had been built to withstand direct plasma fire, their hulls layered with experimental alloy that military engineers had never been able to replicate. Going once, the auctioneer said. Sounding bored, Emily's heart pounded. 7 credits. That was all she had left after paying her station rent. 7 measly credits that wouldn't even buy her a decent meal. Going twice, 7 credits. Emily's voice cut through the hall. Every head turned. The auctioneer blinked at her in confusion. A few people snickered, assuming it was a joke. Sold, the auctioneer said quickly, clearly eager to move on to more profitable lots. To the young lady in the back. Next item. Emily could barely hear the rest. Her hands trembled as she processed the transaction on her pad. She'd just bought a spaceship. A broken, abandoned, possibly worthless spaceship, but a spaceship nonetheless. 3 days later, Emily stood in the salvage dock, staring up at her purchase. It looked even worse in person. The Ironclad 7 loomed before her like a wounded beast, its access ramp stuck halfway open. Rust creeping along the seams. You actually bought this garbage? Emily turned to see Erling approaching, a toolkit slung over his shoulder. She'd met the mechanic 2 years ago when her life pod had malfunctioned, and he'd fixed it without charging her a single credit. They'd been friends ever since. It's not garbage, Emily insisted, though her voice lacked conviction. It's a classic. Erling walked around the ship, running his hand along the scarred hull. His expression shifted from skepticism to surprise. Wait, is this what I think it is? Ironclad 7, Emily confirmed. By the void, Erling crouched down, examining the underside. These things were indestructible. The Alliance lost the schematics after the war. Do you know what this hull is worth? 7 credits. Apparently, Emily said with a grin. Erling laughed, shaking his head. Those idiots at the auction had no idea. Come on, let's see if we can get inside. It took them 2 hours to force the main hatch open. The interior was dark and smelled of stale air and old metal. Emergency lights flickered to life as they stepped aboard, casting eerie shadows across the cargo bay. Life support's dead, Erling muttered, checking his scanner. But the main reactor. Emily, the main reactor is still intact, and it's a quantum core model. Those alone sell for thousands. They explored deeper into the ship. The bridge was a disaster, consoles cracked, view screens shattered, the captain's chair overturned. But beneath the damage, Emily could see the bones of something magnificent. The control systems were outdated but functional. The navigation arrays were military grade. There's something else. Erling called from the engineering deck. Come look at this. Emily found him standing before a sealed door marked with faded military insignia. Together, they pried it open to reveal a small armory, and inside, something that made them both freeze. Weapons, high-grade plasma rifles, shield generators, and 3 crates of military spec ammunition. But that wasn't what caught Emily's attention. In the corner sat a data core, still blinking with a soft blue light. It's still active. Erling whispered. Emily carefully extracted the core and plugged it into her portable terminal. Data flooded the screen, star charts, coordinates, encrypted communications from the war, and then a file labeled Project Valkyria. She opened it. Her breath caught as she read. The Ironclad 7 hadn't been just any armored freighter. It had been a courier vessel for the Alliance's most classified operation, a secret mission to transport experimental technology that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. The mission had failed. The ship had been abandoned, and everyone had forgotten about it. Until now. Emily, Erling said quietly, reading over her shoulder. Do you understand what this means? This information, this ship. There are people who would pay billions for this. Governments, corporations, not all of them friendly. Emily stared at the ship around her, this ugly, forgotten relic that she'd bought on a whim for 7 credits. It wasn't just a ship anymore. It was a responsibility, a secret, a choice. She thought about selling it, cashing in, and living comfortably for the rest of her life. But as she looked at Erling's excited face, at the dormant power of the Ironclad 7 waiting to be awakened, another idea began to form. Or, Emily said slowly, a smile spreading across her face. We could fix it up, make it fly again. See where those coordinates lead. Erling grinned. Now you're talking crazy. I like it. As they stood together on that broken bridge, surrounded by decades of dust and darkness, neither of them knew that their 7-credit purchase would soon make them the most wanted and most dangerous crew in the galaxy. But that was a story for another day. Today, they had a ship to rebuild,